All right, that's what we're going to talk about today. And I appreciate you being here. Had a great call this morning with Hugh about our payment processing. And so I wanted to go through some stuff with everyone today. First of all, welcome. Thanks for being here. Hopefully, you've been plugged in to all the calls over the week and our team building calls, our funding calls, etc. All good knowledge that you can take and you can employ into your business to not have to go through the same learning curve. You can borrow from the experiences of others. Um, what I want to talk about today comes from experience. I was talking to Hugh about some suggestions and things, and he gave me this model called the $50,000 market. And what I want to say about that is the recommendation to focus on businesses doing more than $50,000 a month. Okay. We have a lot of clients coming forward with 7,000, 6,000, 3,000, and I just want y'all to know something. There's not a lot of profit in those. Even if you get the customer, if they're doing 10,000 a month, you may make, $20 a month, $10 a month. There may be no profit at all, depending upon how they get their processing. If they're doing $1,000 a month in processing, we're probably losing money on the account, probably not making money, which means you wouldn't make money, right? So a lot of our accounts that you guys are talking to we're excited to get a startup or a new company. And we want startups. Every company starts up that becomes huge, started with zero. So it's not that we're anti, but from a business perspective, you're a business owner. And from a business perspective, your market is not the $7,000 a month, $10,000 a month. It's not just like Giggle shouldn't be your funding market. We have Giggle for when someone comes forward, but even if you successfully get a Giggle client, what do you make on it? Even if they got $5,000, which most don't get, the average is like 800 to $1,000. So $1,000 client, maybe you'll make $28 one time. Is it really worth focusing on it? Of course not. It's not worth your time to make $28 once. You're not getting 28 an hour, you're getting 28 once. Now, the reason it's a value is because they may grow to a bigger company and then do a larger funding and then grow from there, become a real big company. That's why we have it to step it up. But same way with payment processing, you shouldn't be focused on the small company. You shouldn't be investing hours and hours and hours on that. If you're focused on payment processing, you should be in the $500,000 a year and up marketplace. Otherwise, there's just not money worth your time. Truly, your hourly wages are not worth your time. So if you got an uncle or an aunt or a sibling and they're doing 20,000 a month, 15,000 a month, of course, refer them over. It takes, time, get the processing, you're helping them out. But at a $10,000 process, even if they're dual pricing, you may make $100 a month, $75 a month. So it adds up, but it's not like huge dollars, right? So where it starts to be healthy is 50,000 and up. That doesn't mean we don't want the little ones. We've got a wizard for them, but we've got a lot of accounts we make zero on. Just because you get an account doesn't mean you will get paid. Remember, you get a percentage of the profit, right? So payment processing, we can have an account and lose money on it because there's monthly costs required. All right. So I'm saying that because if you owned DAC and you signed up a payment processing customer doing 4,000 in revenue and it produced zero profit, you did all that work for zero. Well, you do own DAC. You own your own division of DAC, right? You own your own team in DAC. And if you're supporting 20 people in your team and they're all getting payment processing customers, but they're all only doing $1,000 each, you're not making any money. You're supporting all those people and you're not making any money because even if some of them make a profit, the others are losing money. So you end up breaking even maybe, right? So if you're talking to our processor, you'll hear sometimes Hugh will say, hey, if they're not doing 20 or 30,000, don't even waste your time with it right now. Now I don't necessarily subscribe to that same mentality because someone doing 20,000 a month now could be doing 200,000 later, but just know what you're doing. It's a loss leader. There's not a lot of money in it. Dual pricing, it's a little bit better, but most businesses that are brick and mortar are doing a lot more than 20. If you're talking about someone who's, got a food cart 5 times a year, you're going to lose money on that. You're not going to make money. All right. Unless we gouge the customer. So where there's other companies who give you stuff for free. So our square meter is good, but I was looking at our wholesale cost. There's wholesale costs for us to give someone an account. Nothing's free. So if we're paying, let's just say we're paying $22 a month to give someone a Visa account. How do we not charge the customer at least $22 a month? Right? Now, if your Square doesn't have to pay for every member, they pay Visa one member themselves. So they don't have to charge $22 for each member because you don't really get payment processing with them. You ride Square's payment processor. You don't have your own account. That's why it does, you don't get your own processing statements the same way. You're really riding someone else's account. It's like it's all of you were using just one of your credit card processors. There's 20 restaurants in one town. You all use the same processor. There'd only be one monthly fee and it'd be spread across 20 pieces. Well, that's all Square's done. They've got millions of customers and they don't have millions of accounts with Visa. They have one with Visa, Square. Square then tracks all those, takes the risk of all those businesses. That's why they'll shut you off like this, take your money like this, hold your money because they're at risk for you, right? But they also can pass on a service to you very cheap. So it's hard. It's a better model for a startup. Square is the first mover and it was brilliant. It was brilliant. And so they're very good. Stripe is doing the same thing. So you're not going to beat them if you got a wholesale cost of $10 or $20 or $15 or whatever it is. There's compliance fees, $100 a year. There's Visa cost transaction. There's monthly fees. There's maintenance fees. Visa charges all this. I remember the last time I looked, it was $9 just to have a Visa account, not counting all the other things. So it's hard to us. So if you got someone doing $200 a month processing and they're only charging 3%, that's $6. $6 coming in, yet the account costs 20. The processor just lost money, which means you made zero. So you don't, in Giggle, at least you make 28 bucks one time. You don't make anything on a payment processing customer doing very little sales. There's no money in it. We get a lot of accounts where we actually make negative money. We got to pay for them to have the account. Okay, so with that said, the market is 50,000. Your market is 50,000. That's when it starts being worth your time. All right, almost like you don't want to talk to a funding person who's not doing 15,000 a month minimum the last 3 months. You can send them to the instant funding and stuff, but your market is 15,000 is the minimum before you really want to spend a lot of time. Anything under that, you stumbled into it, let them refer, try to get some funding. But the reality is you want to be 15,000 and up on all of our media, our marketing, the video I just posted last night. There's a new video on YouTube. Hopefully you're all subscribed on YouTube and you see these videos when they go up. Share that with clients. Share that with clients. 3.5 minute long educational. Share it. That's why it's there. It's not there for me. It's not there. It's there for you. Well, same thing with payment processing. 50,000. I'm just sharing with you. It's the dual pricing will save them a lot of money, but you don't make anything really until they're at 50,000 up. So that's where you want to say that becomes your minimum. Doing 100, 150, good for you. That's even better. But 50,000 and up is where you really want to swim. All right. Obviously, you'll take a 30 and you'll take a 40, but you're not going to make a lot on those. Right. So focus on that. Warm market, any size, refer them over. But don't be surprised if they're told, just go to Square currently. Now, when we say we have a Square beater coming, the reality is you can make zero on those, right? So it's, we're reviewing that and whether that's good to launch a product that we can lose money on. I mean, you don't have to pay money, but we do. So they actually charge us if it loses money. So we can't charge you. So some of it is saying, is it worth having a Square beater? And I'm sitting there going, well, it is to some degree because they all start small and become large. So the only way to do it really is have a minimum monthly fee. Well, Square doesn't charge that. So do you have a Square beater if you're charging a minimum monthly fee of $24.95? small. It's nothing. That just covers costs. So we're exploring that. But if your payment processing 50,000 and up is where you want to be. Last week we talked about going after reaching out to all your funding applications. Most of them are doing good revenue, and ask them what they're doing for dual pricing. We gave a training on that. If you didn't watch it, go watch the last 2 Wednesdays. We also talked about last week the variety, if they're already on dual pricing, what to do. Sign them up as an agent, let them get the override. Who's your agent? Remember, we talked about it last week at length. So use that, implement those 3 things. So today I just wanted to talk about pro tip: fish where there's fish big enough to pay you well. And that's 50,000 and up. If it's warm market, of course, refer them. But until that square meter's live, there are minimum monthly costs, and some people just don't want to pay it. So you want to let them know that there's minimum monthly cost. And if you go through the process, Tyler, I know you're on. Is there any way you have time real quick to check in the current NMI wizard what the minimum contract is right now? I
Yeah,
don't.
I can look really quick, but it'll take me a minute or two.
Yeah, you got to go through. I know what you got to go through. Yeah. So if you could find that out while we're taking questions, but let's just say it's 24.95 the monthly fee. It may only be 14.95, but he's looking into it. But there is a monthly fee. So you want to tell your customers that, hey, it's only this and that, and they go, well, Square's nothing. Well, Square does have other things. You're paying a lot more. So if you're doing real processing, you're not. If you're doing more than 3,000 a month, Square's not your deal, but you do have a minimum fee with us. So know that 50,000 is where you want to be fishing. 50,000 or up, obviously 100,000, 200 is even better. Your current funding customers are some of your best markets. This is not to discourage, it's just to talk reality. I used to have a long distance phone company, and long distance residential customers, the average phone bill was $24 in long distance, and we'd make about 13%. So about $2.70 a customer per month. Where a business account, the average account was 100 and something thousand a year, and you actually made a higher percentage. So you get one business account, literally, it was like having 50,000 residential accounts. It's like, at some point you don't focus on residential, right? Because it's not worth your time. We focused on residential and got a lot of business by getting residentials. The guy would sign over, or the girl would sign over her home and go, wait a minute, my business could use this. And that's how we did it. So you can do a loss leader, but just know your market, know what you're into. You get paid on the profit, and you're not making a profit just because they're processing. Even the monthly fee, that just covers the base costs. All right, let's go to your questions. And
Really
Tyler,
quick.
get that answer. Go ahead. You got it,
Yep,
buddy?
I'd say just looking at it, not counting like any annual fees and stuff, it's about 35 bucks a month.
$35 a month is what they have to pay to have processing. Right.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
you want to tell people that up front, and which isn't a big deal. I mean, that's real costs. But if they don't want to pay that, they shouldn't even go through the process, right? Okay. Any questions you have? Thank you, Tyler. Any questions about anything? No, okay. I'll just say this then. We just had a real good meeting. We're talking payment processing on different models and different things we do. I see a couple hands went up, so we'll go to it, and we're always working on improvements. So let's go. Steve Leeser, how you doing, Steve? We'll go with you first. My dog will not let me be. Frank, that's enough. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, doing well, David. Trust you're doing well, and all the other DAC team members are too this morning. So,
We are. Thank you, buddy.
good. Hey, great training once again, my friend. So awesome.
Appreciate it.
Hey,
Come on.
two things, David. One, we have a new team rep with us. Tony's doing a good job just getting started, going through his getting started training. I'm sure he just kind of watched you for an hour and a half the other day, my friends.
All right.
Good stuff. And he's asked me a question about doing some Facebook advertising and stuff. And I said, what's kind of the right way and a wrong way to go about that? Naturally, you want to make sure you got your ID number, your URL, your specific link. You want to make sure you do that. Plus, you got to be in compliance with the company. So I was wondering if you could talk about that a little bit. And second thing, in regards to payment processing, I've chatted with a number of people with Square, and they say they use it. They like some of the back office features. So if you can touch on that a little bit about maybe some of the things that they're using, maybe some other options that they can do possibly if they do go away with Square. So those are two questions. Thank
Yeah,
you.
beautiful. Well, first of all, you said his name was Tony, the new rep?
Yes, it is. You're right.
All right. Welcome, Tony. and appreciate your commitment to the company, buddy. And thanks for going through the training. You're working with Steve. He's a great guy. He's gotten clients in all of our services, and he understands them and he cares. I'm sorry, guys. The dog's not letting me go. He must need to go outside. So I first of all, welcome. And I will, Tyler, can you come grab, Tyler's in the other office. Frank, go on, go outside. Sorry, guys. Go on, go outside. Go on. Yeah. Sorry, my wife probably went for a walk. I'm working from my home office here. And if my wife goes for a walk, Frankie, our dog, needs to go too. And if he doesn't let me be until I let him out. Anyway, part of the family, right? So Tony, welcome. Thank you for being here. And sorry for the lack of professionalism with the puppy. Advertising, first of all, yes, you want to make sure you advertise the link and follow the marketing terms. I've never succeeded with Facebook marketing. Doesn't mean we can't. I had a meeting this morning on things we can do to try to improve the Facebook marketing. We're actually working on a landing page. So there's the funding page. There's going to be a funding landing page, which is designed for people that are coming and they want a real quick answer. There's actually a 3.5 minute video, and then there's some bullet points, so they won't have to read as much. There'll be a video. And then the video is going to hopefully give them what they need. So we're working on some what we call landing pages for people that are referring. If you want to run Craigslist ad, Facebook ads, whatever, but you can't put the company name David Allen Capital or Bank Breezy in any advertisements. You can't put anything spelled near close to it, anything like that. So you have to advertise your own brand, but yet you're sending them to the David Allen Capital site. So just know that going in. Some people get landing pages on their own, not DAC branded. It's Steve Leeser branding, and you go there and you hear all about the funding, and then you click apply now, and it goes to the DAC site. So some people have done that with landing pages. Facebook, you can advertise on all of them. We don't say you can't. You just got to make sure you follow our terms and conditions. And there's some people do very well with it. Other people do real good with social marketing. They make video pages, YouTube pages, Facebook pages, and they educate with video. That's very successful because, if you're educating the marketplace, people start watching it, and then you become an expert and a trusted source. And then they click on your links because they're in your videos or in your comments. As far as Square back office, hopefully that helps. But yes, go for it. We don't teach it. There's a lot of companies on there that teach it, that you'll get things. As far as Square's got a lot of platform things, third-party plugins. All of our processors do, though. So they don't have an advantage over the back office stuff. They're neat. If you've never used one before, you go, oh, wow, I can do this, and I can link it to QuickBooks, and I can do this, and I can do this. You can do all processors have that app centric stuff. You can add neat features. Payroll can be added on. Other things can be added on. So they do have a cool back office. The downside is they're not a processor, so you don't have the same processing statements available to you. And it's a wallet. It's not a bank account. So if you're running all your sales through Square, it doesn't make you eligible for funding in our space. That's not a bank account. It's a wallet. Not much like Venmo. So unless that money's going from Square's wallet to a bank account, it's not considered actual sales according to the business funding marketplace. All right. Payment processor, if you're using our Visa, then that's deposited to your Chase Bank or whatever your bank account is. Square doesn't deposit to your bank until you move it. Okay. So it's sitting in a Square wallet until you move it. So if you're not moving it to your bank account, it's not considered sales. So that's one of the reasons why we encourage people who have Square, they apply with us, say, we can't help you. Can't help you because you're not depositing it into your bank. And we need to see it going into your bank. And Square, you can always stop it from going into your bank and let it sit in your wallet. So that's scary to a business who's advancing you money and they need to take money out of your checking account. They can't attach to your Square account. Where Visa, MasterCard never holds the money. They always send it to your bank account. So there's no risk to a lender who's going to get paid back out of your bank account. So Square, it makes Square, Stripe, all those, they keep you from getting approved for funding, and they charge you more once you hit a certain size. Features are cool, but you can get those cool features anywhere.
I appreciate that, David. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. All right. That's the only hand. So appreciate you all. Hey, let's get after it. Let's have some fun. I know today's was more just about Stay on the focus on the main thing, the larger markets. We've covered so much stuff over the past. You've got everything you need in our former trainings. Make sure you read the scripts. Make sure you read the payment processing training. Make sure you got the update. Jose, you always come in right when I'm about to leave. What do you got, buddy? I saw your hand up before. Give me what you got, and then we'll bring it home.
Oh,
I should
okay.
say
I
you
just couldn't
always.
help it.
The last
I
2 days,
just
no problem.
I,
Go ahead.
I just couldn't help it.
Yeah.
And it's about the lower markets that we have for residuals
Yep.
and yeah, I always see those on the in the long game when you've built your business and you know so many levels down where there's going to be thousands of agents, and if all those agents just do one of those little ones once a year, that adds to your income.
Well, that's
So
accurate, Jose.
a little
That's
over a
accurate,
lot.
Jose. Jose, that's accurate if there's profit on those accounts. If
Right,
they're only
that's true.
doing 300, if they're only doing 1,000 a month in processing, they're probably losing money on the account
Okay,
unless it's a minimum monthly fee. Then there's
okay.
profit. Yeah. Then there's profit.
Now I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's say I have two accounts I'm looking at. They both do 100,000 a month. But one tells me he's paying 1%, and another one tells me he's paying 3%. For me to earn the most, it would be better for me to go after the one that's paying the 3%. Is that correct?
Well, they're both wrong, first of all. So no one's paying 1%. Visa charges more than 1%. So they may say that, but they're not accurate. No, so there is a wholesale cost. The Visa charges everyone the same. No one has lower pricing with Visa. There's over 400 card charges. Depends on what kind of card is accepted. It's not the same. It's based on the customer walking through the door with the card. If I walk in and I have a Capital One's 5% cash back card, it's costing that restaurant a lot more than if I walk in with a Citibank card with no rewards.
Right.
Okay. So I just want to make sure for everyone on here knows, in case you haven't heard that, there's over 400 rate charges for credit cards. So nobody knows what they're paying each month. If they either have a cost plus, and that could be, if it's all Amex cards this month, it's going to be 6%, 5%, something like that, because Amex charges a lot more. Or it could be debit cards, which charge next to nothing. So nobody knows what they're paying month over month over month over month. They may know what their markup is. They may have a markup of 1/4% or 0.5%, but it varies every month. So all we can do is lower their markup. Okay, so we have a pass through of cost plus 1/4 point or cost plus a 0.5 point, whatever. The larger they are, the lower that markup comes. Where dual pricing comes in and says, we're just going to charge the customer 4%. And we know over time, most of the accounts will be covered at that 4%. Sometimes they're going to be charged 5, but we're only charging the customer 4. But other times they're only going to be charged 2, and we're going to charge the customer 4. So the end user, that is. So the 4% on average profits about 1% to the processor, about 0.75% to us in bonus revenue to you on average, if they're on dual pricing. But that's not a guarantee. It varies month over. So
Right.
I'm talking, when you say the small ones, 50,000 and up, go for them. But if you got an account doing 4,000, you may be making 0 on it. So if you have 100,000 customers you're supporting at 4,000 or 400 a month, or even 2,000 a month, you may be making 0, but supporting them all. Because you can lose money on payment processing accounts because there's fixed costs, Visa charges just to have an account. So unless you've added to that, unless you're charged, like Hugh says, I don't want to do an account unless I can charge the customer $49 because I'm paying 30 to have the account. So if we charge them 49, at least we're getting $20 a month to handle this account and take all their questions and deal with their this. And I don't know how to use the equipment. I don't know how to do this. And I don't know how to do that. And you're only making $20 a month on it to support them because they may never do any sales. So just so you know, if there's a cost from Visa, just call it $30 a month. We got to charge the customer at least that just to make a profit, right? That's not counting the card cost. So it's not just, hey, let's have 100,000 people all get one small account. That's why I did the training today of focus on 50,000 and up. We'll take the smaller ones, but our focus is 50,000 and up. Thank you, Jose. Appreciate you, buddy. And thanks everyone else for the kind words. To answer your question, 3% or 1%, go after them both the same, Jose. Go after them both the same. You're going to put them on dual pricing is what you're going to put them on, and they're going to get all their fees covered. So even if they think they're paying one, they're not. They're wrong. Maybe they're paying cost plus one, but they're paying a lot more than 1%. And all they got to do is look at their cost to Visa versus their sales, and you'll see they're probably paying about 3%, even though they say that it's one. Right? All right. Appreciate you all. Let's rock and roll. I'm looking forward to more launches coming out on the funding page and more launches coming out on the payment processing page. God bless you all. Have a good day, everybody. Oh, I see some comments. I'll look at them, make sure. I think we're good.